Hello everybody, this is Valencia and welcome to my channel Balloons and Business, where I show you the business of balloon and event decor. So today I'm going to show you how I made this Spider-Man balloon garland, which happens to be my first superhero themed balloon garland. So if you want to see how I made this, just stay tuned. So I'm going to start off like always, blowing up 2 balloons at a time, and then I'm going to round them out by releasing air by pressing them against my table. And then I am going to tie these 2 balloons together in a dupe. Now when I tie my balloons together, I'm going to make sure to leave enough slack at the neck so that I can tie my clusters together by the necks of the balloons. So I use Sempertex Royal Blue in 5-inch, 12-inch, and 18-inch. Sempertex Red in 5-inch, 12-inch, and 18-inch, and Tuftex Black in 5-inch, 12-inch, and 17-inch. And as you can see, I'm blowing up balloons of similar and different sizes, and I'm tying them together into dupes. This is going to be a color blocked organic balloon garland. Now once I'm done blowing up my balloons and tying them all into dupes, I'm going to twist my dupes into clusters. Okay, now when you're twisting your dupes into clusters, you want to make sure you double twist the balloons into the clusters. If you only twist them in the cluster one time, as you're maneuvering the balloons, they may pop out, okay? So twist those dupes together in twice to make sure they're in there nice and secure. Now I am twisting 6 dupes into each cluster, which is a total of 12 balloons. I have 4 12-inch dupes and 2 dupes with the 16-inch balloons. I twisted together 6 clusters, 2 of each color. Now once I'm done twisting my balloons into clusters, I'm going to take one neck from one balloon in one cluster and a neck from another balloon in another cluster, and then I'm going to tie them together. And this is how I'm going to make the base of my balloon garland. Now I will admit that this part can get very tricky. But the more and more you do it, the easier it will get, and before you know it, you're doing it very quickly. One big tip, as mentioned before, is to make sure you leave enough slack at the necks when you're tying the balloons into dupes. That will allow you to really reach in there and grab a nice stretchy balloon neck out to tie. So I added a couple little starburst balloons to this balloon garland, and I'm just showing you how I put them together in case you don't know how. These starbursts come with little tabs at the end. You're just going to tie the tabs together. So once I'm finished blowing up all of those spike balloons, I will then twist them together at the center until all of the spikes are nice and secure. So they're stiff and they're not moving around. They're nice and stiff and in place. So now it's time for me to attempt to make my web, my spider web. I'm laughing because this is my first time attempting to do this, and the look didn't come out exactly the way I wanted it, but it came out still looking pretty interesting, so I still used it for the balloon garland. So what I'm doing is I'm blowing up 6 of these white 260 balloons. So I'm going to blow up 6 of them of equal size. Notice I left that tail out like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie 2 of these balloons together at the necks. So I'm basically tying these 260s into dupes. Then I'm going to take my 3 dupes and I'm going to twist them together where I tied at the necks. So that's going to be the core in the center of this spider web. So now I'm going to blow up another 260 balloon, leaving a little bit of a tail out, and I'm going to use that 260 to connect the 6, I guess I'll call them legs together of this spider web. So as you see, I'm just twisting it around twice around each leg and moving on to the next leg. Now I've reached the end of this 260, so I'm going to tie that neck around one of those legs, double tie it, make sure it's nice and tight. Then I'm going to take the other end because it's too short, and I'm going to get a scissors and cut that tail, twist it around a couple times of the leg, and then tie it. And then I'm going to take another 260 balloon and I'm going to continue on where I left off. So I'm going to tie the neck of that balloon to the tail of the first 260, and then I'm going to continue on with the web, twisting around the legs like I did with the one before. Now, as you can see, that's the first ring. So I'm going to take that 260 and I'm going to go up at an angle and create a new ring, twisting it around the next leg and then the next leg. So now I've ran out of balloons, so I'm just tying that neck to that last leg, and then I blew up another 260 and tied it right there to that leg and continued on with the web. Just twisting it around each leg. Then once it runs out, grabbing a pair of scissors, cutting that tail right there, tying it around the leg, and then blowing up another balloon, tying it around the leg, and then continuing on with the ring. Twisting it around each of those legs. And I made 3 rings before I stopped. So here is my spider web. I want to show you how I take this 260 and I put it onto a command hook, and these are 2-pound command hooks. I double tied that 260 onto the hook portion, and then I took the command strip and placed it onto the command hook with the tab side down. So I placed that tab towards the center of the wall and I pressed on it for about 30 seconds to make sure it was on there nice and secure. I used 3 command hooks total to hang this balloon garland. So when I tied the 260 around the command hook, I left the 2 ends out. So I just wrapped those 2 ends around the balloon garland and then tied them into each other. So I'm rearranging some of the balloons on that balloon garland because I'm trying to make it look like it's ascending upwards. And I'm going to take a cluster of chrome silver calisand balloons and I'm going to attach that to the garland using a 260 balloon. I'm going to attach another small cluster using the neck of one of the balloons in the cluster and tying it to a neck of another balloon in that small cluster. Then I believe I attached that cluster by tying a neck as well. And then I started twisting some dupes of silver balloons into that silver cluster. And then I ended up taking another 260 balloon and wrapping the other end of that silver cluster into the balloon garland. So now I'm going to be attaching my 5-inch decorators using, of course, a 260 balloon. And I'm just wrapping that 260 around one of the balloons in the garland at least 2 times to make sure it's nice and secure inside of that garland. And then I'm just, wrapping the cluster around, trying to fit it in wherever I want to fill in gaps or add more texture to the balloon garland. As I often say in my videos, 5-inch decorators make balloon garlands look a lot more polished and complete, in my opinion. Now it's time to add Spider-Man and the spider web. So I'm just arranging it where I want it. And I am going to be using some glue dashes to attach that spider web and Spider-Man to the balloon garland. And as you noticed, I actually tied one of those white 260 balloons around Spider-Man's wrist to make it seem like the spider web is shooting out of his wrists. So here's the finished product to my Spider-Man balloon garland. So as you can see, I added those starburst balloons on each end of the balloon garland using some glue dashes, and I used some balloon shine to restore the shininess of the balloons. So if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, go ahead on and like it, and please subscribe, and you'll get notifications on future videos on balloon and event decor. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.